Okay, I'm going to walk you through some of the details on the CMOS battery and how to clear your save settings inside your BIOS or UEFI, and that includes what they call clearing the CMOS. So here's a gigabyte motherboard, and you'll notice there is the battery. That's your CMOS battery, standard 3-volt wafer type battery. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this. Let me center it so you can see a little bit better. So there's your standard CMOS battery. You'll notice, and this is fairly universal. You'll notice right here is a small metal clip. It's a little spring clip, right? That's both making contact with the outer edge of the battery as well as keeping the battery inside. So to remove the battery, it's relatively simple. We just got to pry that clip back. Boop. And the battery pops right up. Again, I can't stress this enough. Firm, not forceful. It doesn't take much at all to release the tension on that spring. So all you got to do is push that spring aside and the battery should come up all by itself. If you're in there prying around with a screwdriver, something's wrong. Okay, so just take your time with it. And once you get that battery out, there we go. There's your standard wafer battery. I know this is going to be kind of tough to see because of the reflection and the size of the screen, but you'll notice the battery has a number right there, CR2032. That is a fairly standard designation for the battery, so you want to go to replace it, you get a CR2032 battery. Duracell, Energizer, they all have their own numbering scheme, but they all know what that number is. Notice the plus, this bottom, what I would consider the bottom, what is facing up on the motherboard. That is the positive side of the battery. Again, just like we had talked about before, there's a black ring around that side. That's your insulator. So it's insulating the positive side from this side of the wafer, which is the negative side. So on this motherboard, negative side goes down, positive side goes up. To put the battery back in, just like you took it out, it kind of goes in an angle. So you put it in an angle and just press down until that clip snaps back into place. Simple, right? Okay, so now let's say, for example, you've gone through the trouble of setting up your configurations, or worse, you've set up an admin password into the UEFI, so only you can get into it, and lo and behold, you've forgotten the password, or you're given a PC that someone else made, and you want, just trying to get this into focus here, and you want to be able to use it, and you can't because someone set a user password on it. So that's where on almost all motherboards there are pins like these two pins. You'll notice the text right above it, CLR_CMOS, clear CMOS. Now, different manufacturers have different ways of doing this. This particular motherboard, if you have an admin password set, you shut the power down, unplug it, and then you take a little device like this. This is what's called a jumper, right? It is simply a plastic enclosure that surrounds two metal plates, right? And this is a 2-pin jumper. So what you do is you place that jumper right on those pins, and you give it a 10 count. Okay? When you're done, take that jumper off, and the CMOS has been cleared. Now you're going to lose whatever settings you had on there, including things like date and time, but you'll also lose that admin password. That effectively clears the CMOS. Right? So different manufacturers have pins that they actually include a jumper. So they'll put one of these on a set of pins that are null, and then you take it and move it from that set to the other set. It's a way of storing that jumper. This particular motherboard just has the pins, and you need to go out and get a jumper. The official instructions actually say take a conductive material, for example a screwdriver, and touch those two pins together. Not my recommended method, but it's doable. That's all there is to it. So you've changed a CMOS battery, or you've seen how one has been changed, and you've cleared the CMOS. Right? If you have any questions, you know where I'm at.